Thanks for jumping on board and welcome to a preview early access of a program being released by Aerosoft. It's Toolbar Pushback Pro, due out I believe on the 22nd of February and a short while thereafter in the InSim marketplace. The price is going to be in and around $10. The most significant aspect of this release is that it's both PC and Xbox compatible. If you're a PC user, you're probably familiar with Toolbar Pushback. It's freeware available from flightsim.to. This is an enhancement on that program, but for Xbox pilots, there's precious little available, offering ground services. It's not just pushback. And in this video, we'll take a look at the program, and I'll summarize with my pros and cons. Welcome to the Sim Hangar. My name's Mark, and let's get started. So what exactly does this program do? Well, in a nutshell, it provides ground services and detailed pushback to your aircraft, which you control, and it provides animations for door access, external power, catering, baggage loading, and in the pushback department, you get a graphical editor that makes it simple and easy to plan a detailed pushback and stop you exactly where you want to be. For those of you on PC, this is not designed to compete with the likes of GSX, which is considerably more expensive. To my mind, it's designed for those that don't want to go through the whole setup. You want to get up and fly. Something a little simpler and quicker that'll get you up and away without too much delay. For Xbox pilots, well, it's just another step in the overall immersion of the sim. I think it's important to note that not all services are available to all aircraft. Designed primarily for the default aircraft, it however does have compatibility with many third-party add-ons, but the options may be limited, subject to the aircraft selected. The options may also be limited depending on your parking location. Once you've installed the program, you can access it via the top toolbar, and selecting the appropriate icon will bring up a menu with 3 different tabs. The first one is dedicated to your pushback and the planning thereof. Tools is where your other ground services will be, and options are your settings. We'll look at that in more detail later on. Let's start with the Tools tab. Options available, as I mentioned before, will vary aircraft to aircraft. Limited functionality is available for PMDG 737, Phoenix A320, fly-by-wire A320 and so on. And as demonstrated at the beginning of this video, it's not limited to airliners only. To activate something like the jetway, for example, simply click on the appropriate menu item. If not positioned correctly, or perhaps you're parked a little bit too far away from the jetway, well, that function will be grayed out. I think it's important to mention at this stage that what you're looking at is a beta. The final product, when released, may vary in terms of look and compatibility. Once you have the program installed and you spawn at a particular parking spot, you'll see a variety of different vehicles around you, such as the vehicle with the generator on, which is currently hooking up to the A320, baggage cart and loader, catering vehicle, and so on. We now have external power, so we can now go ahead and open up some more of the doors for our catering vehicle and baggage. If you called the catering vehicle but didn't open the door, as the vehicle approached, it would do that automatically. Let's now get our baggage loaded and get some of these sandwiches on board. Having the baggage animated on the conveyor belt is a nice touch. The animations are somewhat limited, but considering the cost of this package, well, it's functional and adequate in my opinion. If you're in a hurry or you're a little bit late for your departure, well, you can manually dismiss various functions depending on the settings that you've opted for. I've clicked on catering to send catering off and now doing exactly the same for baggage. This functionality is very useful if you're flying online on VATSIM, something like that, or perhaps you're a little bit like me and just impatient. You want to go fly, You can select to manually close the doors or let the program do it for you. I'm sure you've got the gist of it now, so let's have a look at the various options that are available. Speed relates to your pushback speed and not the speed of the animations, and as part of the pushback you get the option to enable pre-planning and simulate nose wheel lift. Under the user interface there are a number of regional languages available, but they are limited, and again depending where you are in the world, during the pushback you'll get varying accents, which again is a nice touch. But the accent functionality is automated. When accessing the menus, make sure you see all the options available by resizing. This is a Microsoft Flight Simulator issue. You can set various levels of volume for the pushback, and here you can opt whether to enable manual dismissal, as we did earlier with baggage and catering, or leave it at default. Let's move on and have a look at the Control tab. And this is where we can plan our pushback. And intuitively you get a graphical view of your current position. You can zoom in and out to suit. Then move your aircraft icon to the position where you want to stop. Use the mouse wheel to rotate the aircraft. I'm going to select this position here, that looks good. You can select multiple positions by clicking on the map in various areas. Let's now jump into the cockpit and hear the interaction between the pilot and the ground crew.
Cockpit to ground.
This is ground, stand by. Okay, sir, the bypass pin is installed, and all doors and hatches closed, and all ground equipment is removed.
The parking brakes are set. You may lift.
Standing by for pushback.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead.
We are cleared for start and push.
Okay, clear for push and start. Please release parking brakes.
Parking brakes are released.
Commencing pushback, you can start the engines in sequence.
It will start in the sequence.
From what I've experienced, you can't start the engines in sequence, but you can select start engines and both engines will start up. Again, this functionality, as far as I've been able to ascertain, is only available on default aircraft, or those aircraft using default variables for that action.
Okay, pushback completed. Please set your parking brake.
Parking brakes set.
Parking brake set, lowering the aircraft.
Ground. Startup is complete. You may disconnect.
Okay, sir, clear to disconnect. Pin has been removed. See you at the site. Have a good flight.
Holding position waiting for the visual. Thank you and goodbye.
And that's basically it. That's what you get for about 10 euros or 10 US dollars. So what are my views and opinions on this package? Whilst using the package, I picked up a number of anomalies, or perhaps they're bugs, and hopefully they'll be sorted out by the time it's released. On occasions, despite a jetway being available, well, it just wouldn't connect. And this was particularly apparent to me if you didn't quit the sim, but went back to the main menu, selected a different aircraft, and tried again. Seems to work almost always on the first attempt, but not always on the second. Compatibility with third-party aircraft is variable, particularly in terms of GA aircraft and the larger props. For PC pilots, the choice is more difficult because there is the option of a freeware package, as mentioned earlier via flightsim.to, although from what I can ascertain it's not updated that regularly, and to my mind would only be a viable purchase if it was predominantly airliners that you flew. For those pilots flying on the Xbox, well, this is a very welcome addition in my opinion, especially if you predominantly fly the tube liners, really does add to the immersion. Now, it should be released into the marketplace sometime around early March, but that's subject to confirmation. It could be considerably later, depending on the processing via Microsoft. As always, thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you found it useful and informative. Stay well, look after yourselves. I'll see you all again very soon, and ciao for now.